Let's take a look at this system. Now you can see that right away, nothing is going to eliminate. The x's don't eliminate, the y's don't eliminate. Now what I tend to do is I look at the variable that already has coefficients with opposite signs. That's usually, kind of it should help us out, right? So a couple of ways that you can do this. One way is that you can look at the 6 and the 8 and figure out what's the common multiple for that. Or you can go kind of cheap on this and just crisscross these coefficients. So multiply the top one times 8. Oops. Multiply the top one times 8 and the bottom one times 6. And before we go on, just double check this. So when I do 8 times negative 6y, this gives me negative 48y. And when I do 6 times positive 8y, that gives me positive 48y. They're going to be opposites and they're going to go away. But notice that 8 and 6 have a common factor of 2. So if I reduce these guys by 2, giving me 4 and 3, it should still work out to be the same, just with smaller numbers. Because when I do 4 times negative 6 is negative 24, and 3 times positive 8 is positive 24. All right, so let's roll with this. All right, so 4 times 5x is 20x, and then 4 times negative 6y is negative 24y. Don't forget that you have the other side of the equation too. 4 times 2 is 8. Now let's distribute the 3. So 3 times 7x is 21x. 3 times 8y is 24y. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And we see here that these guys are opposites, and so they're going to go away whenever we combine them. Oops. All right, so let's combine these guys. We have 41x on the left, and we have negative 1 on the right. Well, getting x by itself, we get negative 1 over 41. That may seem like a really horrible number. Again, it's not necessarily the prettiest, but I think this is going to work for us. Okay. Now, you have two options here for finding the y coordinate. You can take this number and plug it back into one of the original equations and find what y is. Or, because this is kind of a messy fraction, and when I say messy, I mean things that are not, say, like 1/2 or a third or a quarter. Those are easy enough to work with. 1 over 41, I don't really feel good about that. So instead, come back up here to the top and rewrite your system. So 5x minus 6y equals 2. 7x plus 8y equals negative 3. And now instead of canceling out the y's, let's cancel out the x's. Again, do the whole crisscross thing. So multiply the first equation by 7 and the second one by 5. Before you go on, though, double check this. That gives me 35x. This also gives me 35x. So they won't go away. They won't cancel. So I need to make one of them a negative. Doesn't really matter which one. So let's make the top one negative. And now let's rewrite this system and see what we have. So it gives me negative 35x plus 42y equals negative 14. And the second equation, we distribute the 5. So positive 35x, so you see the x's are going to reduce away, plus 40y. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. All right, so we see here that these guys are going to go away. So we have 82y equals negative 39. 29. Where do I get 39 from? All right, divide both sides by 82, and we have negative 29 over 82. So that should be the other half of our ordered pair. So when we put these guys together, the solution is negative 1 over 41 and negative 29 over 82. Now, it may be kind of hard to see that, that's the solution. But let's check with the graphing calculator. So let's type in each of these equations. So start with parentheses and then the constant, so it's 2. We're going to subtract 5x and then divide all that by negative 6. So it's coming from the first equation. The second equation, you start with a negative 3, subtract 7x, and then divide all that by 8. And let's check the graph. Boy, it looks like they are intersecting really close to the origin. Kind of matches up with what we have. I mean, negative 1 over 41 is not a big number at all. Now, how do we know for sure? Well, let's go second trace to bring up the calculate menu. We want to find the intersection. First one's good, second one's good, guess, sure. Now, right now, the calculator has that decimal stored in for x and for y. Don't clear anything, don't do anything other than pressing quit. So second, quit. So now if I bring up x, it's that decimal that we just brought up on the graphing window. So I can take x and I can convert this into a fraction. And it tells me negative 1 over 41. Great. Now to do the y, since there's not just a specific y button, we're going to have to do alpha 1 for the y and also convert this to a fraction. And it says negative 29 over 82. So with the graphing calculator, we've been able to confirm that our answer here is correct. I mean, you could have done this by hand, but it really would not have been a lot of fun. But next up, we're going to look at some problems where maybe the solution is not as simple and easy to find.